you can see it's not exactly that challenging. There are some challenges with some of our audio settings, but I think, you know, as if you were to use
the bottom there's your microphone. You're on now, and you can click on it to turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning. I apologise. I got the time wrong.
Good one, Susan.
Has arrived.
Now, look, if you want to put your face on camera.
Oh, I can see myself.
Yeah, that's the one. There you go. Okay, right. Otherwise, you'll be looking at you like this.
Right.
Yeah, I got.
Oh, good morning, Joanna.
Cool. So I'm going to ask that everyone just mute themselves while I talk. Otherwise, we get quite a lot of feedback during the meeting. Now, the mute button you'll find on the bottom left. Okay, and you'll just see a microphone with a cross through it once you've muted yourself, and that just helps the presenter be able to present without any feedback coming through the sound. I'm just going to run a quick presentation of about sort of 5 or 10 minutes, and then there'll be opportunity to ask questions at the end. And I guess as we're going through this presentation and as we sit here in this online meeting, it'll be good for you to think about how could we use this in the classroom. So this really came about with Roger approaching us, and he asked, hey, what sort of video conferencing tools are available at Whitireia? And we've, one of our colleagues, Ralph, who's actually sick today, so he's not joining us in the meeting. He uses Zoom quite a lot, and he uses Zoom in using his iPad. So it not only works on the PC, like it looks like we're all on PC today, but it also works across devices. So you can use your iPad, you can use your cell phone, whether it's an Android cell phone or an iPhone. Yeah, it can work on a Macintosh computer, and it can work on Linux computers as well. It can pretty much work on any device. And people that don't even have a device or a computer can actually join by phone conference as well. So they can just pick up the old-fashioned phone and dial in and have the ability to listen to the conference. Okay. So there's all sorts of ways you can join this. Let's just go through this presentation. Now, how do I go through that presentation? Just bear with me. Here we go. So I've probably gone through some of this stuff already, just in my spiel at the beginning. So Zoom, it can be used for a number of in a number of ways. So in your context, you want to use Zoom as a means to get students that could be sort of geographically in a different place. They could be sick, or they could be at home, or they might be on the other side of the country or the other side of the world, and you want them to be a part of your class. So we could actually set up some equipment in your classroom, cameras and microphones, and then those students could in some way be inside your classroom. And as you can see now, we're using Zoom as a tool to meet online and meet virtually. And there's that whole thing around webinars. So webinar is really just an online word for seminar. So where you run a seminar online. It could be an application for you, perhaps around running online webinars for prospective students. You might do that on campus already, where you bring a whole lot of interested people that are interested in studying on the program, and you could, as an additional option, you could run that in an online way as well as a webinar. And you can see I'm able to share my screen with you, and at the moment I'm sharing a PowerPoint with you, and it comes up. I could also share a web page. So if I'm going to stop this share. So you can't see my PowerPoint anymore. And what I'm going to do is share something else with you. Let's share, what we got? So maybe I can share. Sorry, I am a bit of an amateur at the moment. I'm going to share a web page with you. Can you see my Facebook now? Can everyone see my Facebook? Give me the thumbs up. Yep. And so here goes. Look at that. That was me fishing in the weekend. Cool, eh? And yes, we had snapper for dinner. So you can share all sorts of things. And as well as that, we can use annotation tools. So we can actually type on the screen. Okay. And I believe I can actually draw on the screen as well. And I think everyone else can have a draw as well. Are you able to draw as well, you guys?
Yep. For me, I have to roll to the top of the screen and it says view options.
Okay.
And one of those options is annotate.
Cool. So if you all have a go at that, or Simon, you can put something on that screen for us. Yeah. Yeah, nice. So there's a few of you.
How do you find the annotate option?
Sonny.
It's up the top. So if you roll your mouse to the top, there should be a little menu that drops down.
View option. Yeah, I noted.
Cool. Cool. Excellent. So, I mean, if we were to be really serious about this, how do I turn my annotations off? Look, I'm a pretty bit of an amateur, but we could say, look at, I'm going to clear everything now. Let's look at something that's quite, so I'm looking for really academic things now around, you know, social work theories, okay? So is this all totally relevant to all of you? And we could get students to, how do I do view image? And maybe we can get students to look at a framework and work on it together or something like this. So perhaps if I says, okay, RP, I want you to explain the blue circle for us.
IQ.
So just unmute yourself, RP.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say the temperament of the IQ.
Yes. Good one. So, I don't know, just an example of how you can share your screen and you can have some collaboration. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing the stuff now and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, which is here somewhere or other. Okay. Does that come up on your screen again?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you can see we can share our screens. It's basically anything on the computer can be shared. I'm sharing the PowerPoint right now. We've got the ability to share any websites that we're visiting or diagrams or documents that's on your screen. So there's a whole range and raft of things that can be shared. There is the possibility to present to a dual audience. So let's say you've got students in the classroom. Yep. So those are live students sitting in front of you in the classroom. And then the other audience would be the online audience that are able to be inside the classroom, but viewing from their device from wherever they are. Yep. And if you were, say, as a part of your teaching strategy, you might say, we're going to be using PowerPoints so that they can be shared to both audiences. You're going to be sharing through Zoom to your online audience, as well as the live audience will also be viewing that presentation. Yeah, something like that.
Sounds good.
Cool. I'm just going to go to the next slide. I think we've talked through a lot of the stuff. I mean, as you can see, the video quality is pretty good. Depending on your subscription level, you can have up to 500 participants. We're providing a recommendation to you at the end, and the level of subscription that we're recommending will allow up to 100 participants inside the meeting room at any one time. And that's probably, I would imagine that's more than enough available seats in your classroom. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. And there are other options to do more sort of collaborative activity. So you can break out, if you've got a very large audience of online participants, you could split them into groups, and then within their groups, they can go into separate breakout rooms and have some group activity within those rooms. Yep. So at the moment, we're in a sort of the main meeting space. We're all in the same space together. And then if I was to start a group activity, I could split you up into smaller groups where you could engage with each other, do some group activity, and then come back to the main meeting group, perhaps to report back on.
Virtual room.
Yeah, virtual breakout rooms. Okay. And there's also some tools to chat with each other. So do you know where the chat options are, Simone?
They would.
You might need to unmute, Simone.
They were down the bottom before, but now my video has moved, so maybe I need to change my view. Let's have a look.
You can also use Alt plus H.
Ah, thank you, Michael.
Oh yeah, there we go. So Alt H. Someone, I'll get you just to type a message to me. Perhaps this is a good way for your students to send questions to the presenter. So a question might come up and we can just collate them all here. Simone said hello. Alt H. Susan, if you're getting a bit tired with holding the phone, you might be able to just hit speakerphone.
Yeah, well, it was on speakerphone, but I just thought it was allowed for everybody else.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Sorry, my earphones aren't working.
Right.
That's okay. I'm okay, thanks, Dan.
Cool.
Oh, is that a, yeah, I'll try that different for you.
Where you got them plugged in?
Yeah, I had it plugged in on this side, which is the...
No, at the back end. Try that.
Is that working now for you, Susan?
Could be in the wrong hole, that's all.
Yeah, working now? No? Anyway, there's probably a little bit of a learning curve to make sure that everyone knows how to get their sort of mics hooked up, and as part of using Zoom or a similar tool like Zoom, we would recommend that you sort of run some intro sessions where people can just come in and muck around and not do anything too serious, but just spend some time getting used to the tools.
I've never used that before for earphones.
That's right. That's connected.
Cool. Are you able to hear us, Susan?
Can't hear it.
No, she can't hear.
Yeah, but that's good to hear me.
It appears that the mic's
Hello?
working. Your mic's working, but
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes.
But I think the speaker's probably coming out of the phone. So we just need to work with you on the speaker options. Anyway, I'm just going to carry on. Perhaps Susan can just use the phone for the rest of the session.
Hello, I'm live.
Oh, you can hear.
Hello, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you, teammates. It helps to be able to hear.
Good one. Yeah, excellent. So there goes some information about using Zoom in the classroom. And here's just, we talked about live online seminars or webinars. So there are, I guess it uses some additional functionality, like you could broadcast that event, okay, to Facebook or YouTube. So imagine if you ran an online webinar about your program, your audience could come and attend that webinar, and you broadcast that through Whitidaea's Facebook page. Wouldn't that be very modern and yeah, and a nuisance. Cool. Now I'm getting saying that our meeting is could be up very shortly. One of the things, I'm using the free version of Zoom at the moment, and it does have a 40-minute time limit. Okay, but so we'll just keep going until it cuts us off. I'm just going to zoom through. Now, the good thing about Zoom is that we don't have to maintain any of the system for it to work. It's an external service that's provided. It's provided worldwide. There's millions of people around the world that use it. It means we don't have to set up a server. It means we don't have to have sort of expert skills in-house. In W²'s team, for example, all we do is we pay a subscription, and then we get access to that server. So if we get access to the service. If we were to set something similar up in-house, you know, it'd be kind of like, we'd need an engineering team like Scotty on the Starship Enterprise, and it will cost a lot of money. Yeah, and you can imagine we get 100 people into a meeting space, and Scotty will be saying, I've only got, we're already giving you 110%, Captain, and then the system will probably fall over. So the really good thing about Zoom is that they're a company outside of the organization. They're totally dedicated to making sure that Zoom is reliable and it's going to run for its subscribers. They've got teams of engineers and people that look after the service and make sure it's running 24/7, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And all we need to do to use the service is just pay a bit of money to them. Now, our recommendation is to use one of their lowest subscriptions. I think it is.
Same time next week, same vet channel.
Oh yeah. So
Oh, hooray, he's back.
we're back. Hello. Now it's saying our internet connection's unstable or something.
Oh, okay. So this recording doesn't file itself away in like a library or something? I'm out. I don't know why, but I'm gone.
Come back in, Simon. So yeah, there's a recording here. It's just saying that we've got some internet problems, but it looks like the meeting's still going. Hey, look. So the subscription option that we recommend to you is the Pro subscription. It costs $15 a month US. So your team, you would want to convince your manager, your program manager, to sign up to a year's worth or more of you know, Zoom license that you could all use. It's only $15 a month, and you can have all of this. At the moment, I'm using the free version of it. So there are some limitations on how long the meeting can run. It's only a 40-minute meeting with the free license. And with Pro, it gives you unlimited duration of the meeting or the event or classroom activity. Okay, so I'm not sure how long our free meeting is going to last for. It says 40 minutes, so it's probably going to cut out in about 10 minutes. Are there any questions? So just unmute yourselves and you feel free to ask me some questions.
So Dan, with the recording, does it automatically file itself somewhere in a folder, or how's that all work?
Yes, it just saves locally on the computer, and you could pick up that recording and say put it on Moodle, and students could watch it later. So it also becomes quite a nice reference
Excellent.
tool as well. Yeah,
Thank you.
cool. Any other questions?
I can definitely see the use of it. I think it would be great actually, but I'm the kind of person that will need to have another run through of this and probably a trial run before I actually do it with students.
Absolutely. Like I say, I think any introduction of Zoom or similar kind of video conferencing tool, it does need some orientation for the students.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if this were to do this in a big way, I'm sure myself and the team would be more than happy to be a part of an orientation activity with the students. Maybe something we could just run ad hoc as needed. We could just set up some fun meetings and have some activities to do while we're in there, so that people become used to using the tool and know what to do once they're inside that meeting. Cool. Anything else?
Is this the tool, I'm talking to my team, that Jean was saying we should do tutorials through? It is, okay, I'm with you. Okay, so that would be really, really useful. Does
And
that
like-
mean, say if you've got 50 people, surely you can't have everybody's faces on the screen? How do you just opt in to having a visual or not? Do we have a tutorial with all of our students? Do we have visual contact with them as well?
So individuals can turn their cameras on and off if they'd like to. I guess the stability of the meeting, you know how before it kind of just froze on us a bit there?
Yeah.
It's going to depend on the internet connectivity. Okay, so the internet, although it's much more reliable than it used to be, every now and then it can go slow, and there could be some issues. I guess that's where the usefulness of having a recording as a backup. So for those that might drop out of a meeting, they can come back and refer back to the recording that you put up on Moodle or wherever you put it. Yeah. Yep. But I think if you're running in the webinar format, it is more about the presenter, and so the participants are not necessarily providing their video back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Any other questions? Hey, look, I
From me?
think now just it's really this has come about from a question from Roger and his keenness to look at new learning technologies, and something that Jean has said to you all. Yeah. So hopefully I've given you some food for thought. Let that stew in your mind, and if you want to take it further, or if you want any other advice, or if you've got some more questions, just come back to myself or anyone else in the team.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Yes. Very, very useful, Dan. So we'll be able to get that access to that recording.
Yes, absolutely. So I can put that up somewhere, and you can have a look, and then perhaps show it to
Right.
Jean, and she can.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope I recorded
Thank
this.
It does say it's recording in the corner. I can see it. It does say recording.
Oh, good.
It does.
Yeah.
At the top it says
Very cool.
recording.
So on the next
Oh, I
slide,
see you.
I'll just put this here as part of the presentation as well, because if you are watching the recording, you can visit some of those websites. Like I say, Zoom is completely independent from Whitireia or Welltech. It's just an external company that provides video conferencing services, and we would just simply be a subscriber to their service. We pay them a bit of money, and they give us their service.
Is that $15 per person?
$15 per account.
license.
Per account.
Okay.
Yes. So you could share that account amongst the team.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you want to do things in a bigger way, you might want to buy more accounts. But I'd just start off simple. Start off with one account. Keep the costs relatively low, and just take it from there and see how you go with it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dan.
Okay.
Come back if you got any other questions.
Thanks, Pete. Merry
Thanks.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Yes,
enjoy the
thanks,
virtual
everyone.
Christmas cake.
Oh, can I show you
About
something?
those fish.
Look at this. This is like, I was given this today. Oh,
Whoa.
there goes one.
Wow.
Ah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you share fish with some of your colleagues here at Whitireia.
Fish with some of your colleagues. Oh.
I am partial to chocolate cake. There you go.
Susan?
Okay, I thought we were signing out. I thought we were
Oh.
signing out.
All good. Okay, cheerio all. Bye.
Bye. Thank
See
you,
you.
Dan.
Thanks.